It's day 40 and later than I wanted it to be, but sometimes the days just get away from you, especially when your body is all out of whack because we're no longer saving daylight time. And my body thinks it's an hour later than it is on the clock. And I have dogs who could not give two shits about clock time and are still waking up to be fed at the same time in the morning, biologically. So I said yesterday that I wanted to talk a little bit about the free will versus determinism debate. So I should probably start by just vaguely defining those two terms. Essentially the debate is, do people have free will? Can they make their own decisions? Or are their decisions determined at some level? Not so much by fate or destiny, but more by the collection of unconscious and subconscious impulses that they have collected over the years, all the things that have happened to them, influenced them, that they've absorbed through media and culture and socialization. Do all of those influences happen in the brain at some level and cause them to come to a decision? And so I won't pretend that I have an answer to which one of those positions is right. I suspect that the answer is somewhere in the middle. And I think from a purely philosophical standpoint, I think it's an interesting question, right? Do we actually make decisions, or are our actions predetermined by all of the things that have collected in our brains over the years? But I think that from a practical standpoint, I don't think it matters too much for two reasons. The first being, I don't think we can ever really prove either way, right? I think there's no way, when you're talking about all of these things building up over a lifetime, all of those influences being in the unconscious or the subconscious of the brain, maybe even being at a nervous system level that doesn't even get to actual brain function. I don't think you can prove that any action or collection of actions is or isn't determined by all those things. The second reason why I think the question is actually only academic is that I think, regardless of whether or not the will is actually free, we have to treat it as if it is. For a society to function, there has to be some level of accountability for the ways that our actions impinge upon others. But also, and this is the thing that I thought of just recently that made me want to share this with you. I'm sure this is not an original thought. I'm sure someone has thought of it already, but it only just occurred to me and I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to share it, is that the reality of growing up in a society that treats you as if you have free will and then holds you accountable for the decisions you make, putting that free will into action, that socialization ends up being one of the things that might influence your predetermined decisions. If you internalize the idea that you live in a society, that you have to interact with other people, and that if you treat them poorly, you will be judged and face consequences, might then become one of those things that at a subconscious or unconscious level influences your decisions, hopefully to be kinder, more caring, more empathetic, less aggressive, antagonistic, less likely to take advantage of or hurt other people. And so if that's true, then acting as though people have free will might end up having some value in helping them make better decisions, even if their decisions are not technically coming from a place of free will. I don't know. It's kind of half-formed. I am for sure not a philosopher. But I just thought that was interesting. So hopefully you find it that way too. And if you disagree or agree or have a different perspective or have thought of something that I haven't, send me an email everyday@particulatemedia.com. I'd love to know what you think. Thanks for being here. I'll talk to you again soon.